What's going on, everybody? Core Conversations for Friday. And that goes as always. Kind of a chill day, party people. This is the plan. Let's freestyle. Hope you're doing well. Haven't got the podcast out yet, but let's put it up here anyway. Core Conversations podcast. Subscribe and share. Hi, Dr. Shelley. ND, where are you located, Dr. Shelley? Mr. Pilates, what's going on? And the Pilates hottie. How's it going, Clarissa? Kevin, where are you located? Good to have you. I like having different people in the space, you know? Alright. What else is going on? Just typing a few messages to people here. Freestyle. Hey, Ray. How's it going, Raina? And Lisa, happy Friday. Clarissa, how's it going? Do you want to join me on the screen for a second and talk about your time in New York and all the things you're doing? It's been a busy week. I've been doing some cool stuff this week. And I purposed today, had 3 clients this morning, and I have, I believe, one more, some other things going on. Purpose today, even though it's Friday, to really, really enjoy my time with my clients, to laugh. I call them like fun Fridays where we throw different things at them, explored movement in some different ways, had some hard workouts, all those different things. So as much as my body's like, okay, shut her down for the week, let's get that last push. That's why I always call them Finish Strong Fridays. So hope you all are doing well. What's going on, Phil? And Fit Club Pilates, how are things going with you? If you guys have any online classes, workshops, that sort of thing coming up, please put it in the chat. I'd love to hear and cheer you on with that. I know there's some national conferences like Ideas coming up, Ken Fit Pros coming up. Are there any Pilates conferences coming up? Anything? Anybody? Rachel, where are you located? Let's do it like this. Everyone put in the chat what city you are in right now. Where? Nice. So Fit Club Plaza is saying things are great, prepping to move to a 900 square foot space in September. Very busy. 900 square feet is like perfect. It's like not like massive, but that's a good space. Do you have like staff working with you or contractors? Denver, Colorado's in the house. Gainesville, Florida. Nice. I always think, whenever I see the word Gainesville, I like think of like pain and gain, like guys are just like trying to work on like mad bodybuilding, big gains, Gainesville. Paul, thank you for joining us for Ali Green's conversation the other day. I'd love to have you on as a guest as well at some point, even today. Today is a Freestyle Friday, so this is where I can, everyone, oh Kiva, I haven't seen you in a long time, welcome back. So today's a freestyle, so if you want to join me on the screen, give me the thumbs up and I will bring you on. Anyway, so Lisa was saying, no staff, it's too much drama, I plan to rent space out to other teachers. Yes. We've had that conversation before about just like different employee models and how that works. We've actually even had Heather Erdman, who is tied up with some other things right now, on and talk about ethics. We had a great conversation around that staffing and how do we hire people when they leave, who gets the client and all those things and all those proactive conversations we need to have with staff teams that will be working with us. So pretty cool stuff. I'd love to hear more about that. Lisa, do you want to join me on screen? You can talk about your new space coming up and all the things that you have planned. Kiva as well, how have you been? Carrie, wow, everyone's just like around today. Good stuff. Yes. I am tired. It's been crazy this week. Good friend of mine was just messaging me, how is this gonna work when you're a city councilor? All good. On the way to training line. All good. This is a conversation we were talking about, like rest and balance, and I had Richie Valdez in here yesterday, who is a member of parliament for this area on yesterday, and it was a really cool conversation just about how we follow our passions and how about being the first and being the only and all these things. And I was saying yesterday, which I'm living out today, the fact that I'm like good busy right now. Lots of stuff going on, lots of great opportunities, lots of learning opportunities, lots of adventure, lots of scary stuff, lots of I want to quit moments, and all of those things bring me to this point of just feeling like there's a lot of good stuff going on. Shannon was talking about this yesterday, that listen to your body moment, where I feel like I'm getting to a point where I need to listen to my body and just stop a little bit before I need to stop because my body's telling me to stop. You know what I'm saying? Show of hands, anyone's at that spot? Some of you have gone on vacation and had that rest and recovery time. Others are at different spaces. So love to hear from you right now. Where are you at? Need a vacation, had a vacation, need to stop, plan to stop. Where are you at on that energy gauge? I would have to say that I'm ramping up. I have a lot of stuff on the go, but at the same time, I feel like I need to not stop, but pause. Like just press pause for a second. And yeah. Phil, are you still in the room? Yes. It's so funny, you know, like, I hope no one finds this insensitive. So this is my car, and it is a 1986 Porsche 944. It is my escape. I saw this picture and I thought it was a funny sticker. But I'm not gonna lie, it has some truth for me, and not to take away from people's emotional, mental health and all those things, but someone had that in their car and I had to take a picture of it. Because there's something to be said for having some outlet, some way to press the reset button when you can't take a vacation, when you can't just step outside of your context for a long enough period to refocus and rejuvenate. What are your strategies to recharge on the fly? Like a plane that refuels while it's in the air, what are some of your strategies to recharge while you're still in the mix? You're still on the front lines, you're still in the battle. What are some of your strategies? Please share in the comment section or request to join and let's talk about it. Hi, my love. So for you just jumping in, Alex, and for others, the question is, how do you recharge when you still have to be on the fly? You can't afford vacation, time-wise or even otherwise. And that's just one of the things I want to talk about. I just basically, like I said, we have this blank slate, and we have some wonderful people in the room. Let's discuss. Dr. Shelley Verma, I think I asked this already, but I'm just curious. What do you do? Are you like a nutritionist, dietitian, or like a physiotherapist type thing? Just wondering. We were talking last week with Jessica Vaughn, who also is a physical therapist, just about that balance between Pilates and stuff. That it's just interesting to see when we have different people, different disciplines in the room, how they look at movement and different things. So just curious about that. Andrea Mitchell Wellness, how are you? So last time at Andrea, I think your page might have been hacked because it was when I hit your page to bring on the We Ran some problems. But Pilates Carrie is saying, also taking a moment to appreciate the good things. Right. Lovely JD, what's going on? Yes, appreciation, journaling, those things are so key. We had some interesting conversations this week. You know, and I'm just kind of looking back over some of the things we're talking about with the way that we put our signature on things. The conversation that we had earlier with Stefan and with Michael Piercy earlier this week as well. There's so many things that came out of that in terms of how we connect to ourselves as Ali Green was saying about that strengthening our innerness, like all those things around our strength and knowing our worth, all that fantastic stuff. It all comes back to just like finding that connection with who we are. So pretty cool stuff. So Kiva, how have things been like with your physical training? Kiva was a guest a while ago, maybe like 2 years ago now. It's so funny, like when the world was really opening up, how there were so many people that were free that normally wouldn't have those opportunities to have those conversations with. So it is really interesting how that all unfolds. Hey, Christina. Christina, I was wondering if you were following Ali Green before our conversation on Wednesday. And if you have a chance, if you have a moment, want to join me on screen, you can. But yeah, it was funny, you know, when I was talking with Ali, I was hearing a lot of kind of the way that you look at life and movement through her. So I wonder if you guys were, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, give me a thumbs up if you want to join me. I don't know if you're busy with kids and stuff, but very fascinating approach that she has. And I'm still like musing on it, to say the least. I think I have 3 conversations with Ali now. Do like volume 1, 2, and 3 with Ali. So I think there's one time that it was just like an impromptu thing that she joined when Misty was on, and then yesterday was actually a scheduled conversation. But how many of you, show of hands, was here for Ali Green on Wednesday with Misty Lynn? Let me see here.
Oh, it works. Hi.
Hi.
I'm not gonna lie. I have this like connection anxiety that comes up now after that porno site popped up on Monday.
What? I didn't
Yes.
see that.
Yes. Let's discuss. I like hold my breath for like half a second now every time I press that connect button because that was like total spam hack.
My God.
Yes.
Anyways, are we talking about Ali?
Yes, we're talking about.
Okay. I feel like she has a very similar philosophy as I do around movement. So I just loved it. It was like all the things that I love, and it was really nice to hear her vocalize it and like put it into words in such an eloquent and beautiful way. So I was thinking, I'm like, I need to go back and listen to this again, you know, just to hear it again and absorb it in a different way without kids around.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's yeah, and if you listen to the first one, like maybe I'll send you the link, or I'll post like with the very first conversation I had with her, because I really didn't know anything about her initially, like when we first started talking. So my questions were very like, okay, so what is this again, and how is this, and like, so wait, how is this, like, you know what I mean, like, and it's just like it was fascinating for me. So second time I was like, okay, I get what you're doing now talk about what you're doing now that I understand what we're talking about. Sort of conversation, right? So like the third conversation was more of that, where it's like, well, let's dive deeper on what that actually looks like. And that's really tough to point, like, to kind of paint a picture for, because it is one of those really exploratory type things. Like, it's not like me, you know, saying, you know, let's do a personal training session and we're going to do your bench press, your squat, your deadlift, and we're going to try and get a 20% increase on your numbers every round. Like,
yeah, exactly. Which I love too. I love that approach as well. You know, I think that you know, that's very solid, and like, you know, it's something that you can really get your hands on and you can really wrap your head around all of that stuff. And I think what's really nice about what Allie's doing is it really just kind of like takes us out of that and just allows us this freedom to move in it without prescription, which is something that we don't do enough as adults. I mean, I know you talked about that during the session, was this concept of play and how we lose that as adults, and it's so important to tap back into that.
Yeah.
So, and I think there's value in both of those methods, like huge value with both of those.
Absolutely. There, yeah, we didn't spend a lot of time on that piece where the Misty was saying about how we go from like this real tight frame to exploring the expansive movement and then bringing it back to that frame, like that sense of going, you know, narrow, wide, and then narrow, because then when we go back to narrow, it's informed by that wide space that we're in, and it actually makes that narrow space wider.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know, and just like teaching people that, you know, like they can experience their movement from a different place, right? Like that it's not like, I don't know, it's just broadening their perspectives on everything. Like, lately in my classes, I'm like, okay, well, what does this feel like for you? When you do this movement, how does this feel? Instead of me kind of like dropping in, this is how it should feel, right? And just allowing them to experience their own bodies with their own history, with their own, you know, whatever they brought to the class that day. Like, what do you feel today? Because this might feel different to you, like, you know, tomorrow, and it might be how it felt yesterday. And then and accepting those movements, allowing those to, like, you know, feel like that is part of the broad spectrum of how movement is going to feel every single day. You know, it doesn't have to feel the same all the time. And
yeah, that's good. The word that kind of came to me right now as you're saying that was expertise. And with that, it's like I'm giving it back to them. Like, you are the expert on your body. Even though you just paid to see me. I'm giving that expertise back to you. So you tell me where we need to go, how that's supposed to feel, that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people put too much stock in what we do in a lot of ways, right? Like,
just devalue the whole industry. Thanks so much. Thanks.
I mean, mind you, I spend so much time learning, right? I spend so much time. Every year I try to invest in more learning, you know, in one way or another. And so, you know, I just see myself as a guide in a lot of ways, and just trying to bring people on a journey of, you know, movement exploration and, you know, and strength building and just feeling good in your body, right? So, it's, so I do think we have value, of course, but
I know.
but they just have to take what we're teaching and take that and bring it into their own bodies and feel that, and let themselves feel that without a lot of judgment.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of judgment, I have a new client I've been working with. I'm absolutely loving working with this guy, and I feel like I'm doing like my, you know, you do like in counseling, or you meet with like your professor and you kind of report back on how your sessions are going.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm having one of those moments right now. So I'm working with this gentleman, and he was a CrossFit guy, and he was initially going to do CrossFit and Pilates, and now he's doing just Pilates and decided he's not going to go back to CrossFit. And there's a really tight-knit community, and he just told them that he's not coming back. Like, he's just like, I found this, I'm doing this for a bit, I may or may not come back, but I'm putting my membership on hold. And it's just fascinating how, in general, for men, there is this stigma around doing Pilates, where if I'm going to tell my buddies I have to brace for impacts, I know that they're going to ride me for doing Pilates. My golf buddies are going to make fun of me. My CrossFit buddies are going to make fun of me. Even if they know that it's going to benefit them too, there's still some fun and kind of give me a couple of jabs for doing Pilates sort of thing. So for this guy to get to this point where he, one, dropped it, two, told his friends that he dropped it, I was like, all right, you're in. Like, you got this, right?
And how did
Like,
it go? How did it go for him? What was the reaction?
yeah. Did he say what the reaction was? I don't think he said what the reaction was, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But it is interesting that like that there is like, as much as we talk about stigma, like here it's totally accepted thing, but when we go outside of our little Pilates bubble,
Mm-hmm.
it's still a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I'm so glad that you've had this experience bringing this gentleman into your practice and having him really commit. I think that that is really cool. And I'm so happy for you because I know how much you love teaching men and how much like there's a passion for you. So number one, I'm happy for you. Well done. Well
Thank
done.
you. Well, I have to thank his wife who was like nagging him for like 2 years to join. So, you know, that's part of it too.
That's me. I'm like, you know, you can be doing Pilates. I don't know if my husband's friend Danny popped in at one point. I don't know if he's still here, but I keep joking with him that he should also come and do Pilates, and that, you know, it's I don't know, what is it? Why is it that men, you know, that there's this, I think like people, I don't, do they look at Pilates as being soft or as being like, you know, not manly enough? Like, what is the issue here?
This is not my professional opinion, but this is my personal opinion on it.
Yeah.
Learning something new is expensive.
Yeah.
It's like time consuming. It's not comfortable. It's a lot more efficient to go just do squats, bicep curls, pick up. Like, even those things don't take time. I'm gonna have to learn a new language, learn a new movement. I may or may not get it. I might be embarrassed when I don't get it. I might be embarrassed if the exercise is harder than I thought. You know, yeah, I could touch my toes for the first time or feel great, and those things could happen too, but it's just not, until I can wrap my head around all the experience I'm gonna feel when I go into this new space. I'm not gonna try and take some time to get into some of it.
Yeah.
It's like an all or nothing kind of, I gotta jump in with both feet sort of thing, right? So, and even with this guy just recently, it's just like, okay, this is my window of time to give this a try.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is ending, this is starting, it's the start of, you know, whatever, like golf season's almost done, like whatever, like you're almost setting up your whole environment to try this new thing.
Yeah.
And if you can't make space for it in that way to get everything in, then you don't do it at all. And that's just my observation with the guys that I work with.
Right. And I would say that that's your professional opinion. You know, I don't think that's your personal opinion. I think it's your professional opinion. You know, you've been in the game long enough.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, it not only does it take time, but there's time in the thought and the processing and the like recording in your body, right? Like that there, you need to create space in your mind to be able to do all of that too.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. But I mean, when I talk to people here and ask, how did you find Pilates? It's like, I was a dancer, I got hurt, I did Pilates, I felt better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was you know what I mean? It wasn't like, and with guys, it's like, well, my wife was telling me for 18 months I should do this, and I pulled my back, and I tried it with her once, and it was fine, so I found someone, and now I do it like 3 days a week, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's such a different story.
Yeah, it is a different story. Yeah. And I think that, you know, it's like men, also my personal opinion, perhaps professional opinion.
I love when we're just dancing around this, yes.
Yeah, and that I just feel like a lot of people, and perhaps men, you know, maybe fit in this category a bit more, if I'm not generalizing too much, is that men are more like on the reactive side, right? They're not going to go in and do preventative work. They're going to go in and react, right? Like they're going to get injured, and then they're going to need to have a solution. And so then Pilates becomes a viable option at that point, right?
Yes. Now, that is interesting to you say that, because there's a guy I was working with, I just had a conversation with, and he said that for me as a guy, he's like, I like the fact you're doing Pilates because you're making Pilates look cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? And I was like, okay, well, that's cool that you think
Yeah.
that I make it look cool, but I think that there's some validity in that because in my head, I'm trying to make preventative exercises look cool. Not just as a guy make it look cool, but like
Yeah.
LeBron James does Pilates because he
Yeah.
wants to get 2 more years out of his career, sort of
Yeah.
thing. So it's not like LeBron James is injured, he found Pilates, he got back on the court.
Yeah.
If it's cool enough for him to do it proactively, it should be cool enough for you to do it proactively. So I think in my head, I'm trying to make
Yes.
proactive stuff cool, not
Yes.
just like cool because like I'm a guy and it's cool. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Exactly. I
yeah.
love that. Anyways, I have to go. I'm sorry, but I saw you wanted me to pop on, so I'm like, I gotta go and get some food for my goats. So
So cool. I gotta come visit your goats.
Yes, yeah. So when they're born, which is, I don't know, relatively soonish, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
We'll get you up here for sure.
Cool.
For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I want to visit you too. Like we haven't actually,
We haven't actually seen each other in person, which is
Right.
odd to me because I feel like that's not true. Like,
I know.
we developed this nice friendship, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. Have a lovely.
I know. And so my wife would say Molly wants to see goats for sure.
Yes,
Yes.
You're coming.
Daughter's dad.
You're both coming. I'm gonna give you both a squeeze.
Love it.
Okay.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks so much. Thanks for coming in. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Awesome. Okay, so
Bye.
yes, Alex should be all over that. Yeah. All right. Well, Carrie Miller, I don't know if you're still here, but how are you? And Phil Griffin, what's going on, man? Dominica? Forest and glowing skin? How's everybody doing? Philip, I don't know if you're still here, but we were just talking about how you found Pilates or how people found Pilates. And I forgot actually that your story of how you found Pilates as a man is something, well, it's almost like as a personal trainer too, right? I think you like same deal in terms of like doing courses at Lifetime. I'm doing good, Carrie. And recognize it as another way to learn to train. So I don't know if you want to join me on screen. Let's talk about that for a second, because for me, I almost have both stories, right? So I first found Pilates when I had a football injury and recognized that doing these group fitness Pilates classes, which speaks to the power of the method in and of itself, a group fitness class, not even like a one-on-one where they can deal with me personally, just in a group setting, facing the crowd Pilates class, I noticed that my back was feeling better and my visits to the chiro became less and less. I took a special interest course, took like a mat Pilates class, and then that's when I recognized the value of Pilates. And then fast forward like 10 more years, I took a comprehensive course, Peak Pilates, and learned the method. And from there, the rest is history. Took apprenticeships and continued to learn. So I recognized the value of it first and then dove deep on it. Partly because as a personal trainer, I recognize that there's also a value in me having another skill set, another bag of tricks, something I could do till I'm 100. That's going to benefit me personally, but then also benefit my clients, way into the future. The fact that I was a man, the fact that I was a Black male makes all the difference in terms of representation and being seen in that space. So there's so many different levels to why I got into it, but that's not every guy's story. I don't know how many other men there are in the space, but I'd love to hear how you found Pilates. And for the guys that I have coming in to work with me, a lot of times it is that, like, they need to wrap their head around it, something they've seen for a while, and they finally decide to do it. One of my favorite guys that I work with, actually, I was doing demos. You remember, like, big box gym type thing, we were doing demos. So I had a reformer on the main floor, and this guy was walking by, and I told him that this would probably help his golf game. So he showed up. We did some Pilates. Next week, same thing. Hey, come on in. Next thing you know, he's like on the regular doing Pilates because it's helping his golf game. He couldn't make it one week, and then his wife decided, and he said, like, like told his wife, you got to try this. And she loved it. And she's been doing Pilates with me ever since. And it's been probably about 10 years, five or 6 years now. And that's like her thing. That she found Pilates and she found like life in Pilates. So it was the guy leading the girl into Pilates, which I think is probably the only documented case in the history of time. So that being said, Carrie, what do you have going on, like workshop wise? You're doing some great work before, in terms of like some group mom stuff. Hey, Tammy. Good stuff. Yeah, Tammy, I'm good. So, Carrie, and obviously, I guess with the kids home too over the summer, you gotta kind of be hands on there too, right? That's the first job. The word recalibrate sounds so lovely. Must be nice. In the grind, let's get it done. But all right, cool. Don't want you to crash or anything, so it's all good. We'll definitely make that happen another time. Michael Johnson, how are you, sir? Carrie's comment here is, I'm in the process of refreshing my programming to include breathwork, meditation, fascia, and Pilates. Nice. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let's see here. Let me see if I get Griffin on. Not much, sir. Let me see. I'm gonna actually, if I can, I'm trying to get Phil Griffin in right now onto the screen. I'm sending the invite as we speak. Michael, while I'm doing that, if you could just type in the comment section, what do you have going on? Any classes or workshops or anything along those lines that you want to let the people know? Scoop Pilates MPT. Nice. What's going on, man? Ah, there you go.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Good to see you, man.
You too?
Let's see here. I was just seeing the comments. I was asking people what stuff they got going on. So the trauma informed movement course enrollment is open. Where is it? It's so funny, actually, on that trauma informed piece. This book has been sitting on my desk here at work for a week. The Body Keeps Score, and this is like a foundational piece on trauma informed work. And my client is a psychologist, so he put me onto this book, which is pretty foundational, pretty disturbing, really, really deep. But it is definitely helps me in terms of informing how I work with my clients. So tough
Yeah.
book, but there you go. Yeah, so when Christina was on earlier, Phil, we were talking about how men find Pilates. So just for you, how did you find it? And then for the guys that you've worked with in Pilates, like how did they finally come to like stepping into your space?
Well, how I found Pilates was through an injury. Um, I had herniated disc, ended up having back surgery actually.
Oh, okay.
And I was working at Lifetime, like as a personal trainer. Our stories are always similar. It always
I know,
amuses me how similar our
absolute
stories
peril. Yeah.
are. And a friend of mine, another trainer there, he was teaching Pilates, and I never really knew anything about it. Didn't have really any interest in it. But he said, "Hey, during my recovery process, hey, once you come, just try a class." And reluctantly, uh, after a few weeks, I finally took a class, and I just loved it.
Yes.
And I started taking more classes, and that's kind of how I found it. So
Reluctantly.
reluctantly, yes.
I wrote down reluctantly because
Well,
that
I
just
just
captures it, right? Like that's really it. Is that there's a reluctance to step into it.
yeah, and I think it's just the unknown. You you don't know how to do it. You're clumsy at first. You think it's you know manly. You don't know if it's but my it's funny the my friend that introduced me to it, where it's actually two guys were actually teaching Pilates,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the guys, he was big big dude. He was like 6'6", 250, looked like a football player. He was a he mixed martial artist.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, how manly can you get? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
And so uh, he knocked down kind of all those stereotypes for me
Stereotypes.
pretty quick. You
Right.
know,
Right. Right. Absolutely.
and that's what I feel like I have to do. To get more men. Say, hey, look, this is not for women. This is going to help you, well, whatever your goal is, whether it's just to improve your core strength, become a better athlete, improve your flexibility to get stronger,
Mm-hmm.
movement to better movement. This is going to help you.
Right. What's interesting though, at the same time, that like staying with that reluctance word for a second, and there's reluctance because you don't know it. But if you get hurt, if you get injured, and then they refer you to a physiotherapist or something like that, you walk into a physiotherapy room, you don't know the next exercise. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't know what's
Right.
coming next. Like you don't know why they're putting their hands on you and doing ART, or they're putting, like, you don't know that stuff, but there's no fear of the unknown. There's not an embarrassment of what they're gonna ask of you next. So why does that happen when you step into the Pilates space?
Well, I think physical therapy is like physical therapy where everybody does physical therapy, but women do Pilates. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so I think slowly but surely it's getting, we're losing that it's a women's thing. I think it's more and more guys are doing it. It's still a slow process, but
Right.
more.
Now
I think,
there's
and I think it's because
oh, you could have.
no, I'm saying I think it's a lot of it's, just more of the athletes are doing it. That guy who got to see athletes doing it. Like talking about LeBron James and guys in other sports. You know, uh, I had a guy doing Pilates. He was doing Pilates 2 or 3 times a week for years, and he got his son to come in. His son plays football. He finally got his son to come in, and his son, this teenager football player, just loved it, and he just
Yeah,
loved it. So I think it's just coming, just this slow process.
for sure. Yeah, you know what's funny? Like, I mean, football is my sport, but I've had so many more basketball players and other sports. I actually have not had a currently playing football player in my space, and I just know what the demands of football are and how much benefit it would be for them. I could imagine this kid just like it making sense in his body because it just translates to the sport so well and so quickly. But I actually haven't had the
Yeah,
privilege of working with a football player.
yeah,
Fascinating.
yeah. I had the first football player that I had was like a defensive tackle, big guy. Uh,
Yeah.
and I can't remember if he had done it before and he came to us. I think he had tried it before and he kind of found me in his neighborhood. But
Yeah.
he loved it. Yeah, he was trying to spread the
Yep.
word to his teammates. And this is a almost 300 pound guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Right.
and but it's like I said, it's just a slow process, man. It's got to keep putting the word out there. That's another reason, like even when I shut down my studio, I kind of contemplated, should I keep making video? Because I was kind of doing it to promote my business.
Yeah.
I really don't have my business right now. Should I keep doing it? But I was like, keep doing it. It's just representation. So people can see
Thank you.
this just black
Mhm.
guy, this tall, athletic guy doing Pilates. So
Yep.
that's basically why I just kept doing it.
Absolutely, and it's so valuable, right? And even when you like the posts of you like hitting the bag or like playing basketball or like that stuff too, I think has power, even though it's on your Pilates feed, because it's like Pilates is meant to help us to do something, right? It's not doing Pilates to be good at Pilates. So
Yes.
when they show like, because how old are you getting? 50?
I'll be 53 next week.
Dog. See, so when you see someone 53 doing these things, it's like, all right, well, it's Pilates and consistency with everything else you've been doing in your life, but the Pilates piece does tie into that, right? So there's a sense of like this is
Yes.
how all the activity comes together, right? So
Yes. Because I like doing different things. I still like lifting weights, lifting heavy. Like I can't lift as heavy as I used to, or I shouldn't lift as heavy as I used to.
yeah,
But I still like pushing that heavy weight sometimes. So, but the Pilates help, it helps me,
yeah,
Um, and I don't know if I'll ever get to a point where I'll just do Pilates because
mhm,
in the beginning, even when I became an instructor, I always do kind of use Pilates to help me with other stuff. You know what I
yes,
mean?
yeah, yeah,
And I don't know if I don't know. I think most instructors, Pilates is the main thing. But
yeah.
for me, it was always,
It's a
I'm using
supplemental.
this thing. Yes.
Well,
So I
looking
don't
at
know if that'll ever switch over, but
yeah, I'm just reading Michael Johnson's to Matt Fit NYC. He's saying earlier, helping experiencing it helps guys to make a decision to do it. And then he's saying when he first taught Chris Robinson, he was hesitant. Now look at him. Pilates to me was an exercise program that had longevity, and yeah, like all that, right? Like it is. And then because when I did my course with Chris, he was saying that too, right? Like Ramana told him to stop lifting, stop exercising while he's getting Pilates in his body. So when he said that to us as a class too, that was my challenge, and I did that. So 18 months, I didn't lift any weights at all, and like I don't know if my wife's still here, but she saw me. I was miserable, right? Because like I was like that's all I did was just lift. So there's a sense of sacrificing that to get this in my body, which makes sense, and then bringing the weights back in. So now all of my movements are informed by Pilates. Like whether it's a heavy day or it's just a recovery day, there's still that understanding of how my body is moving and what connections are happening and listening to my body in different ways that I got from it, right? So
I think, and I may have to do that. I may have to just challenge myself to do that because I did that when I was
it's a
going through
challenge,
training.
man.
When I was for Pilates, I was just because you're so much in training.
Yeah,
Like when you get going through your uh, certification and all that,
yeah.
I didn't lift as much because it's so much. And I may just have to just do that longer. I have to just okay. I'm just not gonna lift for 3 months or 6 months. I'm just gonna do Pilates.
Dude,
I've never really challenged myself like that. I've never really done that.
it
So I may have to just do that.
was hard.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Hard. I can't even tell you. Like it was hard. Like if you, I'm not like some people like equate lifting weights to like flossing their teeth. Like, I have to do it because I don't want to get osteoporosis. And there's people who love to just move and just lift. I love to move and lift. So it was just like, okay, you can't use your left arm for the next year and a half, right? Like, that's what it felt like.
See, lifting weights for me is such a psychological thing in the sense that, I grew up, people don't believe me when I say this, like I was a nerd. I was that skinny, scrawny kid. I kind of was a self-made athlete. And what helped me with becoming an athlete and confidence was lifting weights.
Yes.
And so that's part of my, just who I am, my confidence, my athleticism. So for me to give that up, that's hard.
It's hard. Yeah, absolutely. And then you didn't even talk about the hormonal release, the serotonin, like all these different things that your body experiences when you lift. There's a different stimulus, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So
yes, weights is a red
I
tissue
may just
muscle
have to do
program. It implies, yeah, and Michael's making some good points there. But it's try it. I mean, if you want to, like,
good point, Michael.
That's like, but yeah, that's it was a challenge. I mean, it helped. I'm not gonna lie. I needed to do that because, growing up and football, man, like, what's your bench press number? Like, how many reps can you get 225 for? Like, that's the only thing that matters. So you train certain movement patterns, you overtrain certain movement patterns, and you undertrain certain movement patterns. So it brought my body back into balance, right? So
yeah. I may just have to do it, man. I mean,
all right.
I don't know about 18 months. I may have to start out with 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't. Did I tell you how hard that was? Did I mention that already in this conversation? All right. Because yes.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's good though. Like, and so just coming back to the conversation around the reluctance or the hesitance with men and doing Pilates. I love the fact that you're out there. I love the fact that you're visible with it. Like, Michael as well is doing great work with that. And in our little bubble, it looks like there's a lot of progress happening. But then when I have those interactions with my male clients, I realize that there is progress happening, but there's still a sentiment that is not for us. And when guys get the courage to step out and do it, and then they see the change in their body, and they see how it improves their golf game or their mobility or whatever, we have to keep encouraging them to share the story, right? Like, and just let that message get out there through them. Like, this is a nice conversation, but the reality is that they need to be having that conversation with their buddy who doesn't do Pilates yet.
Yeah, and we all think that everybody who does it that first time is gonna instantly love it. Well, not everybody loves it the first time. Sometimes you just have to, hey, give me 2 or 3 sessions, give me a couple weeks.
Yep.
And so it's different for everybody. It's a slow process, but like I said, I think it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. It's good. All right, man. Well, stay committed to the process. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. I'll let you know about that. Taking that time off from the weight.
I formed a support group. If you need any help, call us. There's a 1-800 number. And, all right.
Definitely.
All right. All right, man.
All right, man.
All right. Thank you so much, Phil. Appreciate you, man. So you just hit the X to get out there. It's kind of lagging too, so we'll see what's up. There you go. Thanks for go-to. Typo there. Pilates with Anna. What's going on? All right, party people. Like I said, I came in with nothing to talk about today, and we talked about the reluctance of men to do Pilates. I have some great movers and thinkers in the space, and I would strongly encourage you to celebrate the men that are going to your studio. Tell them to tell their friends what they're doing, and let's get people recognize that this is for everybody, right? All right, that is about it. We are out. We're back at it next week, 10 o'clock, Monday to Friday, Eastern Standard Time. Thank you so much, everybody. Have